Let's now move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This one comes from Daniel Milewsky. Deadline recently reported that the chairman of direct-to-consumer and digital enterprises, Bonnie Hammer, said that he hopes to reboot The Office on the Peacock streaming service. The Office is my favorite show of all time, but this horrifies me. Steve Carell has already expressed that he has no intentions to return. Even if they get 100% of the rest of the cast together, it seems like the best we can hope for is season 8 or 9 quality. Worth it? Well, judging by that little sigh, John, I feel like you don't think it's worth it.
No, my sigh was over Peacock. I swear to God, I'm never going to wrap my head around that.
Do you think instead of doing the bum, 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 it's just going to be Peacock squawks? It's just going to be like... Ah!
I think it's just going to piss on the camera thing. It's just going to... and it's going to piss all over you. Because why not? I mean, listen, some Harvard grad executive at NBC Universal came up with this stupid, bloody idea of calling it Peacock.
What
and then
idea lost to that?
Room full of morons in their executive offices and go, yeah, that's a great sounding title. Anyway, it's just the name of the service. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you what. As far as reviving something like The Office, I'm down with it. And let me get to the one thing that he mentioned. Like, if you don't get Steve Carell back, all you got is season 7 and 8 or 8 and 9, whichever it was. I'll say this about it. The first season that they did without Michael Scott was rough. Mm-hmm. But I think it was rough for 2 reasons. Number 1, I think it was a little bit rough because they now had to adjust to their main star not being there. Okay. But the second thing, and I've always said this, was that they made a crucial mistake in making the new focus of the show Ed Helms and the Andy character. Mm-hmm. That was a brutal mistake. Again, some brain trust over there went, whoa, well, he's in The Hangover. That's real popular now. He should be the centerpiece of our show, which made no sense. Like, if you watched the Office, you knew they would never have made that character the manager. Yeah. Like, never. He was suspended several times in the show. You know, they would never have done that. And quite frankly, at the time, I have since then gone on to see Ed Helms do some things that I quite like, and I love him in Hangover, but I didn't think he was strong enough to lead that show. That show should have instantly become about Jim and Dwight. That's who the show should have instantly become about at that point. And then, but the thing is this, after a while, when they started to realize the mistake they made, they had the Ed Helms character actually leave for a little bit, brought him back, and they focused much less of the show on him and more on the ensemble cast. And when they did that, the show started getting pretty enjoyable again. And I started to like the show again a lot when they adjusted. And by the way, Ed Helms is a part of the ensemble, is very good. So that started to work for me on that level. But here's the important thing we got to keep in mind here, guys. Stephen Carell has softened his stance. Don't forget that. He has softened his stance. And I remember it was a number of months ago, Steve Carell was hosting Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you guys remember this, but he hosted Saturday Night Live and he did his big opening monologue. And he said, you know, I guess let's do a little Q&A here as a part of the model. That's not traditionally done, so let's do some Q&A. And a random audience member puts up their hand and goes, yeah, are you guys going to go back and start making The Office again? And he's just like, well, you know, it was a great period of time. I enjoyed it, but it's time to move on. And okay, any more questions? And then he goes to somebody else and it's Jenna Fisher. Just, yeah, I was wondering if you're going to go back and do The Office again. And so he brought Jenna Fisher. And then speaking about another person put up their hand, it was Ed Helms. And they brought up Ed Helms. Aww. And then I can't remember the name of the actress from the Indomitable Kimmy Schmidt, or no.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And then she played the new receptionist that had a relationship. Erin, that's right. Adorable. And then she put her hand up and they brought her on stage. And then he said, but you know, the thing is, I just don't have time. Like, I made a commitment to my family that I'd start spending more time at home, Steve Carell says. He goes, look, any more questions? And then somebody else puts up their hands. He goes, it's my wife and kids. And it's Steve Carell's wife and kids. They're like, we're totally good if you want to go back and do The Office again. We were totally good. And then they end it with Steve Carell going, all right, so are we going to do an Office revival? hey, we're going to have a great show here, everybody, blah, blah, blah. And they just left it hanging.
Oh.
They left it hanging. But ever since then, it raised some eyebrows about whether or not they could do this. I would say this. I don't think it's as impossible as some people are making it out to be that Steve Carell could back. First of all, I think this could work because they fixed the mistakes they did before. If you brought back a bunch of the cast. By the way, John Krasinski said he'd be all in for it. Yeah. Pam said she'd be all in for it. A number of them, by the way. Angela and Pam, they just started a new podcast called The Ladies of the Office, where they go over each episode of The Office and break it down and talk about it, which I haven't started listening to yet, but I got to listen to that.
I'm so excited about it.
I think this could happen. And you know what? I think it will happen because I don't think the CEO comes out and makes a statement about that unless they already know something's in the pipeline. Now, I don't know if an office is going to get revived in the next 6 months or in a year or whatever, but I think it's going to happen. I don't think they would have said a single thing about this if it wasn't already looking like it was going to happen. And I'll tell you what, this Peacock suddenly becomes, when you talk Battlestar Galactica and a revived Office, who doesn't get that?
Yeah.
And by the way, it's free. You can watch it for free with ads, like a regular television network. You can just get it for free and watch it with ads, or you can pay a subscription per month to get ads free. But everybody's going to want this. Either everybody's going to want it for Battlestar Galactica, and those who don't want it for Battlestar Galactica are going to want it for The Office. Yeah. And it makes this thing suddenly much-watched TV. I think this is going to happen, and I am all for it. And I think there's a 50-50 chance we see Steve Carell in it. I think there's a 50-50 chance we see, regardless of any statements made before, I think there's a 50-50 chance. Do you think, first of all, are you even down for them reviving? Remember, this isn't a reboot. They're reviving it. Would you be down for them reviving The Office, or do you think, you know what? It's got its place in television history. Let it go.
I'm not sure, because, there were some stinkers towards the end there, but then that ending was so perfect.
Oh, the finale was wonderful.
Oh, the finale was so good. And then Ed Helms, Andy just saying that line of, I wish they told you when you were in the good old days. Like, it gets me choked up each time just thinking about it.
That's the thing about the good old days. You have to be out of them to realize you were in them.
And, it's so good.
Oh, and the best line from the finale, of course, it's Steve Carell at the wedding, and he says, I feel so proud. It's like watching your children grow up and marry each other. It's one of the greatest lines.
He only has 2 lines in the entire finale, each one is so wonderful. Just that's what she said. And then that line. It's so good.
Oh, yeah, because Dwight said, you came.
You came.
And he's like,
that's what she said. It's so good. The ending was so great that I'm really hesitant to have them continue it on. But I mean, you could definitely do this was such a popular documentary on our public access channel. We wanted to revisit all of you. But we also ended with Jim and Pam moving to Austin, didn't we? To go.
Yep, they could. But you know what? The easy fix for that is just to say their company expanded and they set up a new headquarter office there, and their kids are a little bit older now and in school, and she wants to go back to work. And I mean, there's a lot of ways you could do it. Now we're just speculating. Yeah. Anyway, but question here, guys, is what do you guys think about all this? Do you want to see them revive The Office? Do you think it's a bad idea? Jump on down in the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.